So today we're going to do a bit of a red deer guide here on Parque Fernando, and some of you guys did ask for it to be on Hirschfelden. I don't know Hirschfelden well enough to actually do it there, so maybe if I can get some locations figured out, I'll do that video down the line. But for today we're going to focus on Parque Fernando and the best areas to find red deer, and hopefully that can help you guys out if you're looking for a legacy rag diamond before TruRACS are released, because we do know red deer are going to be the next species to get them. Or if you're watching this video after the TruRACS are out and are just looking for a good area to find red deer, this video should be helpful. And as always with these guides, I think it's important to understand what red deer do during the course of the day to help you know when and where to hunt them. So their kind of daylight schedule is to drink from 5 to 9, and then after that go rest from 9 to 1300, then feed from 13 to 1700, and then they go drink again from 1700 to 2100. So that's kind of the daylight hours. They do some other things in the dark, but in my opinion, the best time to hunt any species is during their drink time, and red deer do drink twice during the day, so I don't see any real reason to worry about the nighttime hours. And I've said this a ton of times, so if you've been around the channel for a while, you've probably already heard me say it, but drink zones are always the ones that you can most easily figure out, even if you've never been on the map before. So we can open this map, and we can know exactly where any drink zone could be. I mean, anywhere that's blue where there can be a body of water, that is at least an opportunity for a drink zone to be there. As opposed to feed and rest zones where, unless you have the zone discovered, you can't just pinpoint it by looking at the map. So that is why I focus on drink zones, and that is what we're going to be looking at throughout this guide. So we are going to look at a bunch of different locations where I tend to find red deer the most, and hopefully they can be helpful for you guys as well. And we're starting off with maybe my favorite spot on the entire map. This lake down here in the southeast is good for a number of reasons. Number one, there's an outpost right beside it, which makes it really easy to check. It doesn't take a lot of time. Number two, I've seen a ton of red deer here. I think there's actually 3 different drink zones they can use on this little lake, which I'll show you more in a second. But this is also one of the lakes that I've killed diamond red deer at, so whether or not that means anything, I don't know. But I think it's definitely worth checking out. And these are the 3 different zones I've seen red deer at. So I tend to go around that east side of the lake and try to check all 3 because I have seen multiple herds on the same lake. And it's worth noting, different maps have different zones. Sometimes I think they could probably have red deer using all 3, sometimes maybe 1. It just depends on the map you're on. So if you're hunting your own map or if you're switching through multiplayer and stuff, I wouldn't expect to see red deer on every single zone I show, but I've found most of these spots tend to be good on most maps. So moving on from there, I tend to actually walk northwest up to this bigger lake. And one of the problems with it is you can't actually hunt both sides of the lake because it's so big. You either have to choose the east or the west side of it. So I tend to switch back and forth. If I'm looking for red deer, I'll hunt the east side one time, and then the next time I do this run, I'll hunt the west side. Because as I said, you can't hunt from like the east side, say, and see all the red deer on the west. But again, it's a really good spot. It's one that I tend to check pretty much every single hunt I do, and this was the lake that I just killed the albino red deer at. I believe it was last week. So again, I don't know if that means anything, but it did just happen. And just to kind of clarify what happened here, I guess I spooked the red deer out of their zone and just shot it as it ran by. But I did want to just go and show that they were drinking here just to prove that they do actually do that. Because on my map, I don't have a lot of red deer zones, but when I've played multiplayer, I've seen them literally all over the place, almost anywhere along this lake. Next, we're going all the way down to the southeast lake, and this one is a little bit difficult to get to because the wind actually tends to blow from north to south throughout most of the day, and that means if we go from that nearest outpost north of it, the wind is actually not going to be very good for us. So I have a tent down here, and you can see where it is there on the map. It's kind of set up specifically for red deer because I tend to see them mainly on that north side of the lake and sometimes on the west side. But it's another really good spot. I've seen multiple herds of red deer at this lake at the same time as well. And while it's not the easiest lake to get to, if you do set up a tent down here, it does actually end up being a really quick spot to check. So moving to our 4th spot, we're up here in the northeast, and again, it's a really easy spot to check with an outpost being right by this lake. Now, on my map, I apparently only have this one stag, but I've definitely seen herds of red deer at this lake, and again, it's a really easy one to check. It's worth the time to go and make sure there's not just been a diamond hanging out there on your map or in multiplayer, It's the same thing as always. You never know if a particular host ever hunts that lake. So there could be a diamond just waiting there for you on a spot that takes like at the most 2 minutes to go and look at. Now, moving to our last spot, this is another one of my favorites, but there's 4 different lakes here, so it's going to take me a moment to kind of explain what's going on so you can hopefully follow along with the video. But all 4 of these lakes are good for red deer, and the path that I tend to take is to spawn at the lodge at the southeastmost one, move to the west to check that lake, and then fast travel to lodge to the northwest one, and then walk east to the last one. So just to kind of clarify, the yellow arrow here is the fast travel, and the red arrows are the actual lines that I'm walking. So hopefully that clears up what happens. And now we can actually go through and look at how many red deer are here. So I find the lake in the southeast actually has the most red deer, so that's why I actually spawned there first. And in this particular case, things got really interesting when I came upon this track. Alright, so time for a little live commentary, I guess. What in the world? This will be the second time that I found a diamond of the species that I'm doing a guide for. And it's the same thing as it always is, you know, I'm just hitting the different zones at the right time. He must have spooked out of his zone. And he's just coming right on back. So I don't really trust the 30-06 frontal. I want to get a broadside shot, but at 236 kilos, he'll actually be probably the best diamond red deer I have in the lodge. So we definitely need to make sure we make this shot. And I think he might be going to the zone where everything else was, which is like right over there. And that may allow us to get a broadside shot depending on how he comes in. Otherwise, ooh, that might work. Just take that before he moves. Wow. I don't know how I never saw him. Because clearly he was in his zone over here, and I was just, I guess, focused on other stuff. But we killed that piebald earlier down at the lake in the southeast, and now we're going to have this. That's going to make a heck of a multi-mount. Can tell you that. And he didn't really land any kind of good for a screenshot, but we'll take plenty of the multi-mounts. So that is a 985 diamond red deer. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. I didn't see that coming. So I've had a diamond red deer doing the red deer guide and a diamond elk doing the elk guide. I don't know what to say. These spots can be good. I don't think I've ever shot a diamond red deer at this lake. I was kind of running through here, you know, shooting my red deer to get everything set up for the video, and I was trying to think where I've shot diamond red deer so I could mention that throughout. Can add this lake to the list. Now, despite the ridiculous luck we just had to get a diamond red deer doing a red deer guide, we still have several lakes to check, and just to hopefully keep you on track of where we are, we're now at the southwest lake. We started at the southeast, now we've moved to the southwest lake in this little circle, and this is one I don't actually tend to find a lot of red deer at, but one of the interesting things going from the southeast lake to the southwest one, there's actually a lot of rest and feed zones between it for species like axis deer and mule deer. So I especially like to run it in case I run into something there. But there are usually red deer here, just not as many as the other lakes, and I would say a little less commonly in some servers than the other spots I've shown. So then we fast travel to the lake to the northwest of the little circle of the 4 lakes that I've shown, and this is another really easy one to check. The outpost is right there. You can go look for red deer, and I've had them in a couple of different places around this lake. Again, just remember, where my red deer are might not be exactly where yours are, but again, a really quick spot to check. I don't think I've ever killed anything too special here, but it's got to be worth a couple of minutes. And lastly, from our little path here, we have the lake in the northeast, and this is one that, again, I don't find a lot of red deer at, but I have a hard time not putting it in here because this is the lake that I got my diamond red deer on when Parquet initially came out for that trophy lodge, so I wanted to put it in here. I do always walk over here, and it's the same thing as going from the southeast to southwest. Walking between the 2 lakes, there's a lot of rest and feed zones in there as well, so a really good spot to check. I definitely recommend it. And I also want to say, the lakes that I've shown in this video are not the only lakes where red deer will spawn. I know there are other areas they use, but these are my favorite ones where I find red deer the most consistently, especially across multiplayer servers, so hopefully this video can help you guys out. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'll try to get to as many of you guys as possible. So good luck on your red deer hunts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.